Hello, and thank you for joining today's licensing resources for members of the U.S. military and their families webinar. My name is Monica Vargas, and I serve as the Deputy Director of Communications here at the California Department of Consumer Affairs, also known as DCA. And today we have a full agenda filled with lots of great information, insight, and engagement, and are joined by many special guests that are all part of DCA's commitment to support our military community. Just a quick note, want to make sure everyone is aware that this webinar is being recorded and it will be available on our website for those who may not able to be attend or would like to share it with others. Now let's go ahead and get started. I would like to introduce a very special guest, Business Consumer Services and Housing Agency Undersecretary Melinda Grant. Welcome, Undersecretary Grant.
Thank you so much, Monica and the DCA team. It's great to be here, and good morning to all of you. And just to echo another greeting of a thank you and gratitude for your service, and not only to this country, but to this great state. Happy belated Memorial Day and all other celebrations to come. As Monica mentioned, I'm the Undersecretary here at the Business Consumer Services and Housing Agency, and we oversee about 12 different entities, the Department of Consumer Affairs being one of them, that happens to house over 36 different boards and bureaus, which you'll hear about later on today, and about 280 different license types. And so really, really excited about the great work that they're doing. Special shout out to Director Kirchmeyer, Chief Deputy Lively, for all of their leadership and passion towards this project, and just the entire team that really is just dedicated to sharing resources, educating the community, and really making sure that folks get the help that they need. What's interesting is that as the Business Consumer Services and Housing Agency, we are actually new members of the Governor's Military Council. I think we just got appointed about a year ago. We've had some wonderful interactions with other cabinet members, as well as hopefully some of you that are on the call today, to really kind of learn more about, the challenges and also the successes of things that are working to help make transitions as easy as possible for service members and their spouses and partners. And so really exciting time. We've had a chance to tour Edwards Air Force Base and in Barstow and a few other surrounding areas. And we just look forward to learning more and being as much of a resource to you. Interesting fact is that I grew up, I would say probably 60% of my adolescence on a military base. My father served 20 plus years in the United States Air Force. And so I know all too well about how hard and exciting transitions can be and relocations to be. It's a mixed bag sometimes. And just know you have a partner here at agency as well as the Department of Consumer Affairs to really help navigate through as many issues as you have or don't have, and also to have feedback. We're really excited about the portal and its accessibility to hopefully all of you. This webinar is really an opportunity to kind of walk through and show the different steps that we believe are necessary in order to make things as efficient as possible to get to the other side of licensure. And so if you have any feedback for us, please let us know. If you have questions, please let us know. But we're just really, really excited about the opportunity to share. I would imagine this may not be the last time as well that we will be doing a webinar of this nature. So please continue to share as much as possible. A common theme that you hear is on our website, dca.gov/military. We do have a great deal of resources if you haven't been there already, and we'll continue to share as many of that as possible as well around the things that you can find when there's not the webinar. So with all of that further ado, I think we can jump right into the program. Just really, really excited for the resources that we can share here today, and just thank you sincerely for being here, for joining us, for partnering with us, and just know that we have your back. On behalf of Secretary Moss and myself, thank you and welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, Undersecretary Grant, for the warm welcome and for joining us here this morning. So as we get started here and sharing the information and licensing resources that our department has, just wanted to provide a brief overview about the Department of Consumer Affairs. Our department is a department that licenses and regulates the professional licensing of more than 280 license types through 36 different boards and bureaus. This can be from accountants to physical therapists, cosmetologists, doctors, nurses, and something also that I would like to note is DCA, while we do license a lot of professions, it's important to note that there are some that we don't license. So the department does not regulate and license teachers, EMTs, attorneys, or real estate salespersons, but we do have resources on our website if you're looking to get in touch with those departments as well. And our department, it is our goal to be of service to our military community and to today share an overview of the licensing resources that our department offers to military members and their families. And throughout the years, to help support the military community and professional licensing, DCA has implemented various pieces of legislation, and other actions that we've taken is we have updated and redesigned our website. We've made it a lot more comprehensive, user-friendly, and we have developed brochures that are downloadable, available to print and link to as needed. We've also created a dedicated military inbox, and we established a military licensure committee to bring together licensing staff from all of our boards and bureaus to help identify best practices for processing applications from military members and spouses and so much more. The department, it is our goal here that we continue to support the military community through our professional licensing. And if you aren't yet familiar with our website, we have a website that has all of our resources in one location. Really encourage all of you to bookmark it, take a look, share it with others. It is dca.ca.gov/military. And this is where you will find all of the information that we have available. And also, it is the best way for you to get in touch and direct contact with each of our boards and bureaus. Additionally, one of our best practices has been over the years is having a dedicated military liaison at each board and bureau. And those staff have worked hard over the years to build that list of contacts and staff who are dedicated to assisting military family members and their families with getting through the licensure process and being available to answer any questions that they may have. So when it comes to the licensing resources that the Department of Consumer Affairs has available, one of the best ways that we can demonstrate what is available is through a visual overview. And as you can see here on my screen, this provides an overview of the different categories and the different licensure resources and other options that are available. And by the way, this diagram here is available through our brochures on our website in case you're looking for it for future reference. So in this overview on screen, you will see that there are 3 different categories. The first one is active duty military member. The second is military spouse or domestic partner. And the third is veteran. And along with each category, you'll see the corresponding options that are available for that category. So let's start with active duty military members and the options that are available. The first option that is available on the list is the expedited license application processing for SkillBridge program participants. So this option for active duty is only for those that are enrolled in the SkillBridge program. And as of July 1st, 2024, DCA boards and bureaus will expedite the application process for current military members who are enrolled in the U.S. Department of Defense's SkillBridge program. And for this option, a question will be added to application forms, allowing the active duty members who qualify to request this benefit. And when requesting this benefit, it is important to attach the requested documentation that are required for demonstrating participation in the SkillBridge program. And the second option here on the list is the Federal Professional License Portability and State Registration. And federal legislation went into effect in 2023 that allows military members or spouses who hold professional licenses in a different state to practice in California within the same professional discipline and at a similar scope of practice if they are required to locate to California due to military orders. And California adopted a state registration process to help implement the license portability provisions. And this is done through the DCA website. The next item is renewal waiver. So renewal requirements waived may include renewal fees, continuing education requirements, and any other requirements as determined by that specific border bureau. This benefit has been put in place to assist those military members who may not be in California, but do not want to give up their California license. It is also important to know that military members that receive a renewal waiver cannot practice in California off of a military base. And for this option, we encourage individuals to get in touch with the Bureau if they're interested in receiving a renewal waiver. The Border Bureau will be the best resource to provide additional details and information that's important to know for the renewal waivers. And moving on to the next category. The next category is for spouses and domestic partners. As I mentioned previously, for the Federal Professional License Portability and State Registration, this allows military members or spouses who hold the professional licenses in a different state to practice in California within the same professional discipline at a similar scope of practice if they are required to relocate to California due to military orders. And again, we have a state registration process, and this is done through the DCA website. Additionally, regarding the expedited license application processing and renewal waivers, this includes the expedited application processing and waiver of initial application and license fees. These can be requested by simply checking the box on the application when applying. And again, it's important to note that attaching all of the necessary documentation that's required is it's helpful when requesting to receive these benefits. And also just wanted to make a mention that there may be some fees that cannot be waived. For example, perhaps an exam or fingerprinting fee. But again, best option is to get in touch with that Border Bureau for more specific information and options available for this. And the next one is temporary licensure. So temporary licensure for the spouse or domestic partner of an active duty military member stationed in California is if the applicant is currently licensed and holds an active and unrestricted license in another state within the same scope of practice as the profession in California for which they would like to practice. Similar to the other benefits, this can be requested through the online application and by providing the documentation that is required. And it's important to note for temporary licensure that temporary licensure only lasts 1 year. And now to veterans. For veterans, there is expedited license application processing. So the expedited licensure registration process for an applicant that has served as an active duty member of the Armed Forces of the United States and was honorably discharged. This expedited processing, application processing can be requested by simply checking the box on the application as well, and also by providing the required documentation for that border bureau. And throughout this overview, as you can see, I've mentioned the federal professional license portability and state registration a couple of times. And the Department of Consumer Affairs launched an online portal for this registration process, and the process is very simple and requires only a few pieces of documentation, all of which are in alignment with the federal law, such as military orders and proof of licensure. And we know this portability and the online portal is of interest, and we wanted to share more information about this portal and actually provide a demonstration of what the portal looks like and share a sense of what the process steps and starting that process looks like with all of you. And to assist with this demonstration, we have the California Department of Consumer Affairs Chief Information Officer, Jason Piccioni, to join us, and he will provide us a demonstration of our online portal. And so I welcome Jason, and I will hand it off to you for this demonstration.
Thank you very much, Monica. Appreciate that. Again, my name is Jason Piccioni. I'm the Chief Information Officer for the Department of Consumer Affairs. Happy to be with everybody today. I want to start off by thanking service members for their service, and we'll get right into the live demo. So I'm here today for one mission, to show you, walk you through the quick and easy way that you can follow the steps on our state registration portal. I'm comparing that with a live demo. So live demos have the ability to go a little sideways, so please bear with me if I have a little glitch here or there during our process. I'm going to share my screen. Share. Okay. If my screen can't be seen right now, please someone let me know, because I'm going to continue. I'm going to start off with our DCA website that both Monica and Undersecretary Grant spoke about, www.dca.ca.gov. This is our main website that has a lot of information about licensing requirements, all of our boards and bureaus, etc. So this is a great place to start. As I scroll down our website, I'm going to come to a set of icons that includes our military resources. This icon is consistent across all of our board and bureau websites, and I will say all of our DCA military resources. And this is the link that folks were speaking about before, www.dca.ca.gov/military. I'm going to click here to go to that page. And this page has a wealth of information that Monica spoke about in detail. She spoke about renewal waivers, expedited licensure, etc. And so this page is the page she was speaking about, wealth of information. The specific area is in this area, Federal Professional License Portability and State Registration, the icon to the far right in this row. I'm going to click on that. And we start off with, as most government websites, a plethora of detailed information regarding requirements, references, laws, etc. This page is we believe it's well done in that it provides in several forms the requirements and outlines the details, so that when you come to the page, if you read through it, you're well aware of what you need to proceed through the process. So there are no surprises when you get halfway into the process and you say, oops, I didn't know I had to have X or Y. So we attempted to make sure that folks, as they read through this, really are aware of the few pieces of info that they need to provide during the process, so that can be as easy as possible. I will point you to two links. This link here is the Professional License Portability State Registration User Guide. This user guide, I'm going to pop over to it. This user guide takes you through a very detailed step-by-step process for state registration. So if you need the user guide to follow along when you're actually doing the portal, I would suggest that, because it takes you through each step, gives you different scenarios and so forth, and it's quite thorough. That user guide is available in this link here. And then I want to kind of jump to the end a little bit so I remember. This link down here, when the state registrations are accepted by the Border Bureau, your name, the service member's name or the spouse's name goes on the SCRA list, the list that shows that state registration has been accepted. And that list looks like this. And has the person's name, the registration status, registration date, address, California address of record, and the out-of-state license or license information. All right. So now we'll get directly to the portal. When a service member or the spouse or partner is ready to proceed in the portal, they can click this link here. And yes, for security's sake, everybody loves the CAPTCHA. Is it going to make me ask? Oh, no, it didn't. It wasn't going to make me ask for where all the bicycles are, where all the buses are, but it can do that. It does do that as well. We enter the portal here with as a two-part process. We'll hit the first part, go through right now, and it's very short, and it's a two-step process for security, and I'll explain that when I get to that. We have another introduction, which again provides detailed information on what to expect during the process and what the service member or spouse will need to provide to make it through the process successfully. And we start with eligibility questions. This gets at the same sentiment and idea. Make sure that the person is in the right place to receive the right service that they expect. As Monica mentioned, the first question is, are you requesting to practice as a teacher, attorney, real estate agent, emergency medical technician, or paramedic? The proper answer for our portal is no, because we don't license those professions. If a person were to say yes, they would get a message that says, we don't license these professions, and have convenient links to the different agencies that do have regulation or authority over those professions. We're going to say no, as that's the term that gets us, the answer that gets us through the process. And are you a military service member or married to or in a domestic partnership with a military service member? I'm going to say yes. Are you relocated to California because of military orders? Yes. Do you hold a current profession or vocational license in good standing? Yes. Have you actively used the license during the last 2 years? I'm going to say no, just to show you what happens. If you say no to any of you, if you answer the question in a manner that may not make you eligible for the program, a little box pops up or a little message that says, based on your responses, it appears that you may not be eligible. It sends you back to the military page so that you can do further research to see what program you might be eligible for. But I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to hit next. Last time, I promise, we remind folks what is required to get through the process. Again, we want this to be quick and efficient. So I'm going to say that I have read it and move on. I'm going to choose which board or bureau I want to register with. We're in a test environment here, so I'm going to choose demo, and I'm going to choose demo license type. But if you saw, I could choose any of our boards and bureaus: acupuncture board, accountancy, athletic commission, automotive repair, et cetera, et cetera. And I've got to put about 4 or 5 pieces of information. I'm going to say that I was born in June 2006. Clearly, that's not the case. And if anybody wants to email me, that is my good email, my personal email. Here, I'm going to click off here and hit next. This is a summary, just like many portals have, so you can review your submission. If you said, oops, I didn't put in my correct phone number, I can hit the back button, correct that, and come back through. But I'm going to hit submit. It's the portal, once it processes, is going to give you some further information and specifically tell you that we've sent you an email. The two-step process is for security reasons. You have to give a good email and have access to the email. So nothing is done, and I'll show this in a second. No data or documents are exchanged via email. We use the email process as a way to communicate, to say, please go look at your portal account. You have information there. And I'll show you an example, just one example of the email. Go through the process. You probably get 4 or 5 emails during different statuses or different milestones of the process. I'll just show you one so folks can see what the real email from the portal looks like. It's from military portal, no reply at DCA, and it has this icon, and it tells you, thank you for submitting. In order to continue to the registration process, click on the link below. So this is the method by which the emails will always convey interaction or request interaction with the Border Bureau and the process. Won't ask you to send documents over email. It will say something to the effect of, the document that you submitted was not clear. Please upload it again. Click on the link below to submit that. So this is the method by which we do that. All right, I'm going to now click on that link. And, it did. So motorcycle, 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 motorcycle. Anybody see any other motorcycles? No? All right, I'll hit verify. I'll hit continue. And you could see the first page is the exact page that we ended with on the first step, and you could change all the information, but you cannot change the board that you chose, the license type, or the email. That's because those are put you into a certain workflow. And if you happen to choose the wrong board or license type or email, this is so easy at this point, just start again. So you could change your name, your last name, your date of birth, and phone. We're not going to do that. Here's where you can put your California address of record, and you could do it one of 2 ways. You could actually fill in the street address, city, state, and zip, or you can do this address search up here. And when you do that, it populates those downstream fields. Pretty normal. The military orders page asks you if you're the military service member or a spouse or domestic partner. If you choose spouse or domestic partner, it will ask you an additional upload question. Please upload a copy of the documentation regarding this marriage or domestic partnership. For this demo, I'm going to choose a service member. The date the military orders will begin, we're going to choose tomorrow. And the military order end date or end of military service, enter the earlier date. I'm going to choose the next day after that. It then asks you to upload a copy of the military orders for the military service in California. So I do have to choose a file here to upload. And I'm going to hit next. This is the page where we ask you to provide your license information from the other state or states. The first question is, how many states are you currently licensed in? The vast majority choose 1. However, if you were to be licensed in multiple, I will show you what 2 looks like. You see licensure information 1, and the same block of information is duplicated for a second license. And it could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 5, etc. But I'm going to change it back to 1, and I'm going to choose the state. I'm going to put in my license number. I'm going to choose my current expiration date, and I'm going to say that this license is in good standing. And then I think one of the last pieces we ask for is upload your license verification, a letter of good standing, or documentation from an online licensing system demonstrating that license in good standing. I'm going to choose select file. And I'm going to choose next. This is the affidavit page and the page right before submission. I won't read through all of these things. These are statements of eligibility for the program that you have to click and attest that you are eligible for the program. I'm going to hit next. Again, a review and then a submit. This part takes 20, 25 seconds. And what's happening here is it's aggregating all the information that you provided. It's creating the form that is required for this. And then it's going to ask you here in a second for your digital signature. At this point, just to scroll up a little bit, it has populated the form with all the information that we put in. Answered all the questions, license information, your attestation on the affidavit, and now it's asking for your signature, digital signature. I'm going to put in my digital signature, click to sign, and sign agreement. And then it's going to give you a thank you page with information about what are the next steps. At this point, this is going to be the end of my live demo, but at this point I will tell you that the Border Bureau receives your submission in the back end of our portal and begins to process. And this quick and easy process has registered just about 110 service members, spouses, and partners at this point. And for the in wide terms, complete submissions are processed within under 10 days, definitely within the 30 days that is required. Complete registrations are processed quite quickly. So I will just say that I've demonstrated the happy path to you for you today. If you submitted something and errors happen, perhaps an upload file was uploaded incorrectly. I thought that I uploaded my military orders, but I clicked on the wrong file and uploaded a picture of my wonderful children, or whatever the case happens to be. You would receive an email from the Border Bureau saying, we need some more information. Here's what we need. Please upload your military documents. And click on this link to do so. You would do so, they would receive it, and we'd go on with the process. So I think at this point, that's all I wanted to cover. I'm going to stop sharing and just go over my notes quickly, make sure I covered all the topics. I think I did. I hope that was billed as quick and easy, and I hope you perceive it as quick and easy. We've gotten feedback to support that, but again, all feedback to make continuous improvements is welcome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason, for walking us through that online portal and showing us the steps as if we were actually applying. I think that it's really helpful for everyone to see what that process looks like from start to finish. And I know I always find it helpful to see a process in action. So thank you for that. And now moving on to the next item on our agenda, we are now headed into the Q&A portion of today's webinar, where we will have additional guests joining us that are going to be available to answer any questions that you all in the audience have. And before we dive into this, I want to give a moment to our skilled team working behind the scenes with the tech and logistics to share some instructions and some tips to help you ask your questions through this WebEx platform.
You can access the Slido Q&A panel on the right side of your WebEx screen. Click on Type Your Question, and then type your question or comment into the text box, and then click Send. Or click the hand icon at the bottom of the screen, and when prompted, click the Unmute Me button. For audio only, or if you called in, press *3 to raise your virtual hand, and when prompted, *6 to unmute.
Great. Thank you for that. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the Q&A portion. And just before we go into that, I would like to welcome and introduce some board and DCA staff joining us today. And your panelists that are going to be here assisting with the questions are listed on the screen, but I would like to introduce them. We have Christy Underwood, Executive Officer with the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology. Welcome, Christy.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for letting me be here with you. Thank you for your service and to your families and for the service that they have provided as well.
All right, thank you, Christy. And then we also have Jason Kaiser, Executive Officer at the Physical Therapy Board of California. Welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Monica. Good morning, good afternoon for some of you. Thank you for being here. We're grateful for your service and we're happy to answer any questions that you might have.
All right, and then we have Paul Rowe, Military Liaison with the Physical Therapy Board of California.
Good morning,
Welcome,
everyone. Thank you very much. Glad to be here and happy to answer any of your questions. We're always willing to help.
Thank you. And then we also have DCA Chief Information Officer Jason Piccioni joining us again for this Q&A session. All right, so I am going to go into a first question that I have here. And the question is, what does expediting an application mean to the board? If Jason or Paul or Christy would like to take that, that'd be great.
For us, it means that once we receive your application, we receive it and we process it as soon as we can. So hypothetically, if you were to submit an application today, I would see it usually today or tomorrow, and I would process it immediately. So very quick.
Yeah, I would just add to that essentially it puts you to the front of the line, right? So anything that we can do to expedite your process, we will. Obviously, there's going to be some steps and correspondence that go back and forth between you and us, and we will make sure that that communication is timely as well.
All right. And Christy, anything additional you would like to add for your board to that question?
Sure. I just kind of the same process for us as well. I think it's just super important to know that moving to the front of the line for our military families is sometimes a big line. So it really is important that we know right up in front that you are qualifying for that expedited process. My board receives thousands and thousands of applications a month. So moving to the front of that line can really make a difference in many weeks of delay that there would normally be in processing.
Great, thank you. Okay, I have another question, and I believe this may be for our Chief Information Officer. So question is, I have 2 separate license types. Do I need to put in separate requests for each type through the portal?
Thank you, Monica. The answer is yes. And we're looking at attempting to have multiple license types on a single request submission at this point. But right currently, yes, the answer is yes, and your name will appear twice on the SCRA list that we looked at earlier, with each of the license types listed separately.
All right, thank you for that. And then another question that I believe I can take this one. So it says, can I complete the online registration as soon as I receive my orders? The answer is yes. However, your ability to practice does not become effective until you or your spouse begin serving in California. So yes, that question, bottom line, yes, but again, ability to practice does not become effective until the service in California begins. All right, okay, next question. If I am only practicing on a military base, do I need to be licensed in California, or approved through the portal. Jason, Paul, or Christy, any insight you can provide to this question?
I'll take a stab at it for PT. More than likely, no. Serving in a military base, you're exempt. You're serving under the federal auspices. So it doesn't require any licensure in California, or even, and for that matter, to be approved under the SCRA portal. However, you know, if there's something that you want to do outside of that military service, then that would require licensure, and even the SCRA portal might be important to you then. But if you're doing it in the capacity of your service in the military, you do not need licensure or to enter a registrant into the portal itself.
I have had some service members, their commands may require it though. Their commands may require some kind of renewable license. Let's say they're licensed in Virginia, they have to keep those up, or they may require them to get a license in California. It really depends. I've had both.
Gotcha. And again, for any individuals in the audience with a real specific scenario or situation, the best bet is to contact the board. We have staff dedicated, such as Paul, to help assist you with any questions that you may have regarding licensing. So thank you for those responses. Okay, let's see. All right. So what if I have a question about scope of practice? What is the best way to address that?
I'll go ahead and jump in. For us, you definitely want to reach out to us. Our scopes of practice definitely vary throughout the country. So you want to make sure you're following the California scope of practice. So just reach out to our board. You can email us a general question, and that's something that we get back to you fairly quickly.
Yeah, I would just echo that as well. I think that kind of goes for all of the boards and bureaus under the Department of Consumer Affairs as just good general advice. But for like physical therapy in particular, there are a lot of different kind of nuanced subjects when it comes to what can be done in what state and what can't be done in California. So reach out to us, get that clarification ahead of time, and just make sure that, you know, while you may have licensure in another state, there may be differences in the Practice Act itself and what you're able to do. So just become familiar with the laws that govern the practice in California.
Thank you. And I do have a question here. I believe Jason touched on this during the demonstration, but the question is, how long should my registration through the online portal take? And Jason mentioned that it's under 2 weeks right now with the completed application, but we do have 30 days to review, but the turnaround time is pretty quick for that type of processing. Okay. All right. So I do have another couple of questions coming in. So before I get to this question, I did want to ask the board representatives here, what is a common mistake or any tips so that my application is processed timely?
I would say that it's that proof of your license from another state is probably the biggest struggle that we have, and that depends on how you're coming in. A lot of people that come into barbering and cosmetology want the actual license from our board, which is also expedited, so that's fine as well. But a lot of times we see that it depends on that certification from another state. So, and that's something you can get as soon as you know you're coming into California. So we recommend for our industry that you request that certification right away.
What I've seen is California not having a California address yet. So you know you're going to go to 29 Palms, but you don't have your address yet. So that's been a big thing.
And in those situations, we know that you may not be savvy or aware of where your actual address is going to be, but just letting us know as soon as it becomes available to you, just, revisiting either through the portal or through the analyst assigned to the board that you're regulated by, letting them know right away will smooth it out a little bit.
All right. Okay. All right. We did get a question here. So the question is, what determines the expiration date for a professional license, specifically professional engineering license? Will the license only last for as long as the military orders are? So the answer is that yes, individuals under registering through the federal professional license portability and state registration are only authorized to practice as long as through their military orders if they are practicing under that registration, and also that paired with as long as they're licensed in the other state. Okay, let's see if we have any additional questions. Okay, what is the best way to get in touch with my licensing board if I have a question? And that is a question that I'm happy to take. So we will be putting some links in the chat here towards the end of the webinar, and we will include a direct link to either get in touch with the board directly or request that someone gets back to you. We do, the boards are very responsive and will get back to you timely. But if ever you don't hear back and if you need to get in touch with us, you can always email us at military@dca.ca.gov. We have a team that is dedicated to checking that inbox daily. So you will get a response from us. But again, we will have those links and those email addresses shared in the chat at the end of this, at the end of the webinar. And then I do believe we have a question with in the audience, if the team wants to open that up.
Yes, we do have a raised hand from one of our individuals who've called into the meeting. I'm sending you a request to unmute your microphone. You should see an unmute me button, or you can dial *6 to unmute your phone. All right, they don't seem to be able to unmute their microphone. We can check back with them momentarily.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we will give that caller another minute or so as we move on to the next question. So I did want to ask the board representatives, for anyone interested in learning more about the Physical Therapy Board of California, can you please share your website?
Sure. That is www.ptbc Physical Therapy Board California.ca.gov.
Okay, and then for anyone interested in learning more at the Board of Barbering and Cosmetology, what is your email?
Ours is www.barbercosmo.ca.gov.
Thank you. And I meant website, not email. So thank you. Okay, so we are nearing the top of the hour, and with that, we hope that this portion of the webinar answered questions that either you had or you were wondering about. And for anyone that didn't get to answer their question in this portion, or if you have a question that comes to mind later, please feel free to email us at military@dca.ca.gov. We will be happy to answer your question, get you in touch with the board or the bureau, and get you some information and resources that you're looking for to assist you with licensing. I do want to give a big thank you to Jason Kaiser, Christy Underwood, Paul Rowe, and Jason Petroni for being available and sharing their insight and expertise here with these licensing questions. And again, for anyone that didn't get to answer your question, ask your question during the session, please reach out. We are still here and available beyond this webinar. So military@dca.ca.gov is how you can reach us, and we will have someone get in touch with you. And now I would like to introduce the California Department of Consumer Affairs Director, Kimberly Kirkmeyer, to share a few words as we close out the webinar. Welcome, Director Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you for that introduction. I just want to send a big thank you to Undersecretary Grant and our great panelists for being a part of today's event. I also really want to thank all the DCA employees working behind the scenes each and every day to support you, our military community, by assisting with the licensing process. I know they do a great job, and I just want to really thank them. Whether you're active duty, military, a spouse or domestic partner, or part of the team or community that supports our service members and families, I want to thank all of you for joining us today. I hope you found today's webinar informative. I encourage you to share the resources presented today with others. Our DCA team is really committed to supporting our service members and families through that licensing benefits that are available here in California. It really is our goal. I hope that you heard that throughout the speakers today. Our goal to get the information shared today into the hands of those that can benefit from it. So we're here to help. If you have any questions, if you need additional information, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Our team that works on military licensing knows how important this topic is. Some of our designated staff actually that are involved in the military related questions here at the boards and bureaus, and even some of those you heard from today actually are former military and former military spouses, and they understand what it is like to be part of that military community. They bring their experiences really to help us continually improve our customer service efforts. And really, they just want to assist in making these resources more accessible and easier for all of you to navigate. I hope that you saw that through the walkthrough of our portal here in DCA. So big request for all of you out there, please help us spread the word about the resources that the California Department of Consumer Affairs have and what we have that are available for everyone out there. Please share the links in the brochures with your networks, link them on your web pages, hand them out at any of your events that you have, or you can provide them wherever you believe this information will be helpful. Again, just a huge thank you for joining us today. And most importantly, really outside of all of that, just thank you for everything you do each and every day to keep all of us safe. So with that, I will kick it back to Monica. And again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Director Kirkmeyer, for your warm remarks and for joining us here today to help us close out this event. Really appreciate it. All right, so we are a couple minutes away from closing, and then just a reminder, we have some helpful links thrown into the chat. This includes a link to our website, a link to the Federal Professional License Portability and State Registration Portal, a downloadable flyer or linkable if you'd like to link it that covers all of the information that we covered here today. There's also the link to request to get in touch with the board and bureau. And we've also shared our dedicated military email if you want to reach out to us that way. And thank you all for joining us today. And our time together has come to an end. And I did want to just point out on the slide, if you have a moment, if you wouldn't mind taking our brief survey, just would love to hear a little bit more about who participated in this with the goal of us to further better serve all of you. And with that, our time together has come to an end. And on behalf of the California Department of Consumer Affairs, thank you for sharing your time with us and take care.